Every so often I get a question about how I book my trips to Walt Disney World and the flights, and whether I book the resort first or the flight first, and how I go so frequently and where I find these special offers. In this video I'm going to go over how I do all that researching and planning and getting ready for a next trip. Now first and foremost, I think about timing. I think about what's happening when I'm going and what I want to see. For example, maybe I want to see Flower and Garden Festival, and Flower and Garden happens between March and about May. If I can go earlier in March, I'm going to see better prices and not as heavy crowds, which is going to be so helpful. While I'm thinking about timing, I'll also think about the school schedule and different breaks that are happening, like spring break and summer vacation, all these things that are happening throughout the year, and I try to work my way around that so I'm not overlapping with some of the big vacations. That being said, some of my favorite holidays like Christmas and 4th of July, when I see it at Walt Disney World, it's the best. It is crowded. It's crowded, and it's the break for a lot of students, so it's something to keep in mind. When you want to go to these great things, sometimes there are more crowds, so it's just kind of a balancing act, if you will. A little crowded here on the weekends at the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival, but still magical. After I've got a better idea about when I want to go to Walt Disney World, I'll start thinking about the specific event. Let's say it's the 4th of July, and I want to make sure I'm there in the Magic Kingdom for the 4th of July. I can say maybe I'll start my vacation on the 3rd of July and then stay until the 7th, or maybe I'll start it on the 1st of July and stay until the 5th. So I start to play with those numbers a little bit. I start to play with those dates and figure out when it would be the least expensive and the best for me to go for crowds and everything, work schedules and all of that around this time period that I want to go. So the trick I use is I don't lock myself into a certain date just yet. I just think about what I want to see. So let's say it's 4th of July, I can work with a few days on either side. So that's the trick that I use in this step. The next thing I'll do is I'll hop on the Walt Disney World website and I'll start looking at the different resorts and the prices. Maybe there's a special deal going on, like a summer offer for pass holders or for everyone, or maybe there's no deal and I have to just look at other resorts. Maybe I'm going for value then, or moderate when there's a deal going on. So I'll start browsing the Disney website at that point. Now I'm going to do something extra special. I'm going to go to the Disney website with you and walk you through how I go through the process of figuring out when I'm going to go to Walt Disney World. Let's hop right in. Now here we are back at the Disney website. Can't even tell you how many times I've been to this website. I'm going to scroll all the way down here near the bottom and you'll see a little present icon. Go ahead and click that where it says special offers. You'll notice right away there are a lot of special offers happening at the time of filming, and you just look through them, see what sounds good, and do your homework. You gotta start doing some homework here and figure out what time period sounds good for you. For this video, we're gonna look at the summer room discount special offer and run through it together. Now, once I find the special offer that I want, I can browse around and look at the different details of the offer. What percentage is off, on what dates, for what resorts. You can see there are different percentages for different times of year that they are discounting the rooms. And this is usually based on the amount of people that are at Walt Disney World at this specific time. I can also click the offer details here and I can read even more about it and see when I have to book it by and the time frame that I have to book it in. You can see all of those details right here at Offer Details. Now that we have a better idea of what is being offered and what's being discounted, I'm going to go ahead and click Check Availability and we'll start browsing for our next trip. Now I'm looking for the 4th of July, so let's change that start date to July 1st. Just as an example, we'll let that end date just play around a little bit. Don't be specific just yet. I just keep playing around. I'm just a party of one. Then I'm going to click to the next step and wait for the resorts to load. And now we're at the resort page where we can look at some of the discounts that are offered on each resort. You'll notice right off the bat they're all different, and they all do vary quite a bit depending on the days and how many of the deal is left for that resort. Each resort has a set number of the specific deal that they have, so not every resort's going to be available. You can see we already have Boulder Ridges here, and there are others, and even Caribbean Beach is a pretty big discount from a $200 to maybe $164. That's not bad for Caribbean Beach. So that's the general idea. I'll start browsing around, I'll look for what's available and what looks good for this time frame. Now I've said it in the past, when you go to Walt Disney World, the longer you stay, the less you pay per day. That is absolutely true. You'll notice it here when I go down to Caribbean Beach. It went from the 160s to the 180s, even though I've reduced the amount of time. This is just because they give guests who are staying longer a greater discount. This does happen. You'll notice it as you're scrolling through. Now let's take a closer look at one of the resorts I'm considering, Port Orleans Riverside, one of my favorite moderate resorts. $194 is what it says on the outside. When you click the resort, you'll notice on top it's $240 something, and you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, that's not what I looked at originally. You scroll down just a little bit and you can see the price, $194, that you saw from the outside here at the resort specific information. Now I'm going to tweak those dates a little bit and still try to get July 4th in there, but you'll notice even though I'm tweaking all that information, the number stays relatively similar, maybe still in the 194 in that general range. Why does this happen? It's because July 4th is so popular. It is so popular popular. Disney knows that guests are going to come even if the price is $200 a night to stay at Riverside. Disney knows what price to charge that people are going to pay, so you'll notice for the special events it is more expensive, but it all varies, so you have to think about timing. Timing is number one when you're thinking about planning your next Walt Disney World trip. Okay, wrapping up the website portion here, let's scroll down to the bottom and take a look at Port Orleans Riverside for $210. Now you're probably thinking, Michael, $194 per night and $210 per night, that is so close. So I want you to keep that in mind. Even though Port Orleans Riverside is on the discount, $194 looks great, Port Orleans French Quarter is only $210, and then you don't have to chase the discount. So I want you to just keep that in mind when you're thinking about looking for those special offers at Walt Disney World. Now all that being said, special offers at Walt Disney World are fantastic, and I'm always looking for them. I'm always on the lookout, trying to be aware of when the next special offer is coming out so I can jump on it, because you do have to jump on a lot of these really quickly. Another common question that I get, Michael, do you reserve the resort first or do you reserve your airline tickets first? For me, it's always the resort. I'm not sure why I do that. I'm sure I could save some money if I played around with the airline costs too, and I do look at them. As I'm booking my Disney resort, package, I also look at the airlines just to glance, see if it looks generally okay, and then I'll just book that Disney resort and then wait a little while for those airline tickets, just because maybe about 60 or 45 days prior to leaving, the prices are probably the lowest, right in that time frame. But I usually don't wait longer than 30 days prior to your trip. The prices will only go up. But that's just the situation here in the Washington, D.C. area, about 30 days prior, more expensive, but that, it varies depending on where in the country and where in the world you're flying from. However, many of our friends do drive, so if you drive, you're saving a lot of money anyway, and then you don't have to worry about the plane tickets. That's a great alternative. Now, this is just how I look for those great deals by myself. When I go with my family, it's very different. We're looking at the free dining offer. We love it. It happens in the fall, usually gets announced right around the spring and early summer time period, right in there, and we book it right away. If you want that free dining offer, you have to be ready in advance and be ready to book it as soon as it's announced. There is a rumor floating around that the free dining offer could end. We'll have to wait and see. I really hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't. I've heard other rumors that say it'll be announced maybe April 24th, 2017. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the future. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Is this how you plan your Disney trips? How do you find that best deal? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. It means a great deal. Until next time, have a magical day.